Now, in May of 2022, President Cyril Ramaphosa launched Operation Vulindlela. It was also aimed to address structural problems in the economy to help boost recovery. This week, the president launched phase 2, but has it achieved anything? Let's speak now to political analyst Sandile Swana to get his perspective on this issue. Mr. Swana, good to have you on the program this evening. So firstly, President Ramaphosa has presented phase 2 of Operation Vulindlela as the next stage of economic renewal, from what he says. From your perspective, is this truly a turning point or more of a strategic reframing as tough questions around service delivery and accountability mount?
Oh, thank you so much, Landa. The situation is this. Since according to the reports of the state, the Operation Vulindlela was started in 2020 and until now. So what has happened is that and the objective of this was to create economic improvement in the GDP growth rate and improvement in the job creation in South Africa. Those numbers have actually worsened. The GDP growth will not reach during this term of office the 3% or 3.5% that is required to start reducing unemployment. So overall, the Operation Vulindlela has not been successful in the past until now in terms of the measurable objectives using the GDP growth rate and the reduction in unemployment. That it has not been successful. Looking forward, it is not successful. However, if you assume somehow that there is widespread economic illiteracy in South Africa and numeracy is at a low level, people will not know how to measure whether there's progress or no progress. Yes, you can have a launch like he has had the launch and give people a good vibe. But in terms of people who are well educated, especially those who know how to count properly, there is no progress and there's no prospect of real progress in this term of office.
You speak about giving people a good vibe, but when you look at Vulindlela, it does rely heavily on interdepartmental cooperation and reforms across key sectors. Mr. Swana, given what we know about the state's capacity, but also issues around bureaucracy, how realistic is this agenda?
We can talk about some of the things that the state has mentioned, some of the simple, straightforward issues so that people can understand. For instance, one of the things over and above the cooperation, one of the things that the president mentioned is that they are now going to go into the municipal sector and make sure that there are competent people there because the work is simply not getting done. So, for instance, municipal managers will be competent people and CFOs will be competent people, senior executives in the municipal sector will be competent people. There will be enforcement of minimum competency requirement. Now, let me make this statement. Trev Manuel actually conceived of this idea that there must be minimum competency requirements in the municipal sector. Courses were prepared. I was one of the lecturers on the program from 2007 to 2021. Other people continued after that. For 14 years, I taught on that program, minimum competency requirements for the municipal sector. Not one minister from 2007 till today has enforced minimum competency requirements in the municipal sector. I have no evidence that any minimum competency requirements have been enforced in the provincial government sector and in the national government sector. So even if you have so-called cooperation, it may even be the cooperation of the incompetence across these sectors that I have mentioned. Because if you meet the commissioners from the Public Sector Commission, they tell you clearly that there is excessive incompetence and dereliction of duty and general delinquency in the public sector in South Africa right now.
I want us to look at the energy sector. The president has linked recent reforms to a reduction in load shedding as well. Do you think these gains are systematic and likely to last, Or could we just be in a temporary lull, really?
I am not convinced that we are as successful as we claim to be, because on the one hand, you've said that, I'm talking about the state president, that load shedding has been reduced, this, that, and the other. And then on the other hand, load reduction has been increased. Now, the question now is, what is the difference between load reduction and load shedding? How do you distinguish? And when I look, certainly, and it's not objective, but when I look at the traffic lights that are off, I look at the reports on my WhatsApp group of how many times are we getting outages in our area where I am not satisfied that indeed a reliable continuous supply to the average citizen in South Africa has been restored. I'm not saying there's no effort,
right,
but it's not systematic.
It's safe to say that there is this noticeable shift toward opening up space for private sector involvement, especially in infrastructure, when you look at electricity, rail, and even water as well. Could this face internal resistance, particularly from within the tripartite alliance?
I would imagine, I mean, the fights between the SACP and ANC are out there. I mean, the SACP is going to go and campaign on its own. The ANC of Ramaphosa, as compared to the ANC of Thabo Mbeki before it, for instance, you must remember that ANC of Thabo Mbeki was achieving around 5% GDP growth. Ramaphosa is at about 0.5, so it's 10 times less. Without any reforms, without privatization of this extent, certainly of not the entities that are being privatized now. Yeah. So there will be conflicts from different sectors. However, at this stage, regardless of any conflict, the DA and the ANC of Ramaphosa are continuing with these reforms and with this privatization program. These privatizations have been done in many other parts of the world. There's been privatization and remunicipalization and renationalization. So it's not a one-way street kind of thing, and it has got no automatic guarantees of success.
As we start wrapping our conversation, one of the proposals is to extend the Public Service Commission's oversight to local government, for instance. Do you see this driving real accountability, Mr. Swana, especially in struggling municipalities, or is it more of a structural gesture without teeth here?
As I have said before, I've been involved in that sector since 2007. And this thing has been under the direct interest of National Treasury and the COGTA, the Department of Local Government. Not long ago, Velenkosini Hlabisa of the IFP, who's in charge of local government, identified municipalities that are in distress and so on, which needed to be put under administration and reformed. Nothing has happened. Nothing has happened. I do not expect any serious achievement in the local government sector for as long as the African National Congress has a hand in it. And the DA, which prides itself in partnering with the ANC, is going to be in this term of office with continuing mediocrity and failure. That is what is going to happen.
And finally, as the plan to release state land and tackle spatial inequality, I mean, to me, does really sound ambitious, but how politically viable is this, considering the deep-rooted interests in land and issues around housing in this country?
The release of the land, some of the state entities, for instance, the Ekurhuleni Metro, have got vast volumes of land, I mean, large tracts of land. So land in the state is not the problem. Number two, the biggest problem, which we knew before 1994, was that the special planning of apartheid is deleterious to the black population. We knew that in 1994. People like Lindy Wesisulu came up with philosophies during this democracy of redesigning human settlements that has not been implemented, where the commercial and industrial are combined together with human settlements and so on. And this is not a new idea, it's old. Lindiwe Sisulu was very busy with this idea. It's not new, it has failed before, not because the idea is bad, but because the people manning the state right now, the vast majority of them should not be there at all. They are unsuitable for office.
Thank you so much. That's a political analyst, Sandile Swana, helping us unpack the promises, the pitfalls and political complexities behind Operation Vulindlela, well, Phase 2. Whether it delivers real transformation or joins the growing pile of reform blueprints, it does remain to be seen. So what is clear at this point is that trust and tangible progress are running out. We will be watching this very closely.